four-part series on the parables of Luke 15. And Luke 15 has to do with the lost. And we're talking about the lost this week. We're talking about continuing this idea of the lost. And so we've been talking about different people who are lost in Luke 15. We've been talking about the lost sheep. We talked about the shepherd who left the 99 sheep to go find the one lost. And last week, we spoke about lost cash, the woman who lost her coins and swept the dirt floor over and over again, hopelessly trying to dig up these buried coins that fell onto dirt floor. And I talked about the futility of sweeping a dirt floor to look for something in a dark cabin or hut. And the last parable in Luke 15, we often call the lost son, or the lost prodigal, or the prodigal son. And different theologians talk about this parable different. They point out that the first part of the parable deals with a brother, and the last part deals with a brother, and it's the father in the middle that glues the story together. And they say then the parable shouldn't be called the prodigal son, but the forgiving father. And I like that. But I can't ignore this parable begins with a brother and ends with a brother. And I think this parable is about the lost brother. The only question I have about this parable, to think about this parable, we know this story well, most of us. For those of you who don't worry, I'm going to review it. Which brother is really lost? Is really the question of this parable. Which brother is really lost? We know the parable. There were two sons, and they lived in Palestine, and they approached their father, and they asked, one son asked his father, "Can I get my inheritance ahead of time?" Can I live while you're alive like you're dead? Can I treat you like you don't matter to me? I've moved on even before you have moved on. One of the things we often miss in the understanding of this parable, that such a request would have been considered the height of hypocrisy in a patriarchal society in that age of time. It would have been considered to be on par with saying, "Dad, you should just die already." So the father should have been angry. The elder brother should have probably killed his brother, because his brother was basically saying, "Dad should die." But the father divides the inheritance and gives the inheritance to each of them. And the father lets his son go. And the son goes, and he takes the inheritance with him. He leaves with half the money. He wanders off, and he engages in a lifestyle of luxury. He is lured into the temptations of cash, the temptations power, the temptations of having something, the temptations of squandering his fortune. And I have found in my life that whenever you get something that you didn't work for, whenever you get something that is given to you easy, you generally don't value it. And so he is out there with all this cash. He's out there with all these resources, and he doesn't value it. But you know who does value it? Those who are around him out there in that world who don't have it. and they value it enough to lure it away from him. You know, when you have the money, you always have the friends. When you have the party supplies, there will always be a party. When you have the resources, you will always have a network. When you have something to give, you will always have a taker. When you are wealthy, there will always be someone who wants something from you. And this man, he went out to the world with compromised morality to begin with, because he took his father's money, not caring about what happens to his father on the other end, because he has taken half of the inheritance with him. Think about it. That means he has left the father to the mercy and the pity and the responsibility of the other brother. He is going to live a life of his own desire, a life of lure, a life of temptation, a life, maybe not so much temptation, because it's not temptation, it's there. He can't be tempted with something he's got. He's just given in to everything. Back at home, though, someone's caring for dad. Back at home, though, someone is keeping the farm up. Back at home, though, someone is caring for that fatted calf at home. They're feeding the sheep every single week. They're taking care of the herds with now half the resources that the family used to have, while this man is out there living it up. This man is out there partying it up. This man is out there squandering his fortune. And the problem about having cash, the problem about having resources, the problem about having the kind of party, is when that money is gone, those friends are gone. Those people are gone. That power is gone. People who had all the time in the world for you, they got no time now. I mean, you may have paid your last dollar for their current drink, and they will say to you, "How are you getting home? By the way, where are you staying? Can I come?" See, this is the problem when we get carried away. Listen to me, because we get carried away. This is the problem when we let the crowd carry us away. This is the problem when we let the party carry us away. There's nothing wrong with parties. I like them. But when we let the party carry us away into the lure of temptation of sin, when we let the party take us where the party wants to go, rather than us defining where our limits are and what our boundaries are and what our values are and what our morality is, when we let the party push us, the party won't be there for you when you're out of resources. Friends that are gained by what you can do for them are friends who have nothing to do for you. And so this boy thought he knew something about life. This boy thought he knew something about the joy that is found in life. This boy thought he knew something about the power of prosperity in life. But he didn't have the power of prosperity. He had no pity of the people he partied with. And he can't even get a place to stay. He can't even get a piece of bread to eat. He can't even get a drink of water. And he begs this stranger. He begs a stranger to let him sleep with the pigs. Yeah, ooh, gross, right? I agree with Jose. Ooh, gross. Yeah, I got an amen over here. Let the babes cry out, right? He worked the pigs. He fed the pigs. He slept with the pigs. He was jealous of the pigs. he looks down at the trough. I mean, anyone ever farm pigs? I mean, you're all good Adventists, and you're thinking pigs, ooh, gross. But I had a pig growing up. I had 2 or 3 pigs. I think we ate one of them. I remember my sister crying deeply about it, and I'm like, it's just bacon. We didn't grow up knowing some of the things you're privileged to know. We ate little Charlie. Don't tell Charlotte. And he looks down in the trough. Now, the reason I asked you about if you've been on a pig farm, because pigs generally eat out of troughs. And there are some things you should know if you're ever going to eat, or don't eat on a pig farm. There's nothing there. It's clean, literally. If you're going to feed pigs, there's something you should know. The reason you feed them in a trough, there is a reason, by the way. Yeah, it's not just because they're messy. It's because anything they think is food, they will eat. Including your hand, including your feet, including a dead rat you find on the ground and throw in there, and including their own waste. So you put a trough out from one length to the other, and you go with the bucket on the other side of the fence where your feet or your hands can't be eaten, and you pour into the trough. You pour into the trough the food from the other side of the fence, and the pigs run to the trough, and they just anything that's there. Don't believe me? Go home and do a good Sabbath National Geographic nature watch of farm animals. Pigs are pigs. But this guy, I mean, he's feeding these pigs. This guy, he's feeding these pigs. And you know what you feed pigs? Anything. Leftover banana wrappers? Yeah, sure. Leftover bones? Sure. Leftover spoiled yogurt from the fridge? Sure. Leftover garbage you didn't sort? It's filler. Put it in there. They eat anything. And he looks down at that trough and he says, oh, if only I could have a luxury meal like that. If only I had to eat what the delicious guck that I feed these pigs. If only I could have a sewage stew. If only I could just jump down there now, fight between these 2 hogs, get my mouth in there, and take my share, because my stomach is that empty right now. You see, partying and prestige and power are attractive when you have them, but it's not so much fun when party, prestige, and power lead you to the trough of the pig. And by the way, party, prestige, and power always leads to the trough of the pig. Popularity is good while you got something that's good. When you don't, party's over, it's pig time. And so there he is, wanting to eat the pig's garbage. He says, today, back home, hundreds of miles from where I am, my father's servants, my father's slaves, my father's workers, they're going to eat better than I can even dream of eating. Could my father have mercy on me? Would my father have mercy on me? Could, would, should? No, he shouldn't. But might he? May he? Will he? You know, I know I have sinned. I know I have done wrong. I know I deserve the trough of the pig. I have disrespected one of the greatest commandments, to honor your mother and your father all the days of your life, that you may prosper. And I am not prospering because I did not honor my mother. I did not honor my father. I had nothing but disrespect and hatred in my heart. My father, he ought not take me back into his house. I don't deserve to go back into his house. But if he would take me just to be a slave, if he would take me just to be a servant, I will not assert my authority. I will not assert my desires. I will just be present, and I will just eat whatever leftovers he's giving to his servants. Might my father at least have enough compassion to treat me with the prestige of a slave. So he runs to his daddy. He runs home to his daddy. And to his surprise, his daddy is porched out there on the road, looking down the road for him. And he runs to his dad. He knows he's not worthy. He knows he doesn't deserve it. He knows he is the one at fault. And he's just like, Dad, I have sinned. I am not worthy to be in your house. I am not worthy to eat your food. I am not worthy. I forsook you in your twilight years. I took half of the house's proceeds and I squandered them off in a foreign land. I don't deserve anything. But could you, would you, might you treat me like a slave? I will willingly do so, that I might at least eat a morsel of bread and not have lust for the prestige of the pig trough. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned. I have sinned. I have sinned against heaven. I have sinned against the principles of God. You know what he's talking about, right? He's talking about the 10 Commandments. He's talking about thou shalt not dishonor your mother and father. Thou shalt honor your mother and father all the days of your life, that you may live prosperous in the land. That's what he's saying. I have sinned not just against you. I have sinned against heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Please don't even call me your son. I can't even come back to you. I can't even ask you to call me a son because I am unworthy to be a son. I can't be in the son's place after what I have done. I have sinned against you, and I've sinned against heaven. But the father is like, bring quickly the best robe. Bring it. Where are my servants? Bring it quickly. Bring the best robe. Put it on him. Yes, put the ring. Sorry, Seventh-day Adventist. Please put the ring. This is not a wedding ring either. This is a ring of authority. This is the ring of wealth. You know, in parts of the world, you wear jewelry not to look good, but to show that you're not a pauper, that someone loves you enough to decorate you. And that's actually what's going on here. Please, quickly, bring him the best robe and put the ring on his hand. Oh, please, look, his feet! They're covered in pig waste. Quick, run! Get something to clean my boy! Put shoes on my kid! I cannot bear as a father to see him like this. And so they run and they clean him and they put the robe on him and they put the ring on him and they go and they get the fatted calf that the elder brother had to prepare all the time the youngest brother was gone. The fatted calf, not just any calf, not just one of the sheep, not just one of the cows, the fatted calf that every day the elder brother went out there out of his portion of the inheritance and fed. The father, he does not consult with the elder brother who is the one who owns the house. Whose ring do you think the younger brother is wearing? So the elder brother, he comes back and he looks inside. They're eating my calf. He's wearing my ring. Are they dancing? He gets upset. He's not that different than us. He gets upset when he sees them dancing, Marvin. There will be no joy in my Father's house. They're wearing fine clothes and rings and dancing in my Father's house. No one gave me any of that. So the father goes out and he's like, come on, son. You have to come in. Your brother, he's back. Do you know what he was? Do you know the condition that I found him in? You know that every morning I woke up and I took my chair and I put it at the roadway and I looked down the road. You know where the road curves? I just put my chair there. You saw me every morning. I got up and I put my chair there and I just looked down the road. But you know, this morning, son, this morning I'm sitting there and around the corner I see this homeless bum coming around and he stinks. I smell him before I see him. And I say, whoever owns that poor boy sure must not love him very much. To let him be out in public covered in the dung of a pig. And then I recognize that he's my son. And I ran to him. Come, you must hear what our boy has survived. Come dance with us. Come eat with us. Come celebrate with us. But yeah, he was mad. He was angry. He refused to go in. His father came out and he begged him. He entreated him. He begged him. But he answered his father and he said, look, all these years I have served you and I have never once disobeyed anything you asked from me. Yet you never gave me even a young goat, that I might celebrate with my friends and my family. And you gave him everything I have worked for. What kind of father are you? But when, watch the words. Are you watching them? But when. What? This is harsh. This is harsh. When this son of yours, who's disowning who now? He's not only dishonoring his brother, he's dishonoring his father. You spoke bond a child such as this? I hold no claim to him. All of this disgusts me, and you are the reason. He doesn't say, this brother of mine. He doesn't even say, this former brother of mine. You know, he could have said, I don't want him to be my brother anymore. But when he disowns him as a son of his father, when the father just has affirmed his fatherhood of the son, he is disowning his father. Please listen to me. When you disown somebody that belongs to your father, you disown your father. But this son of yours came, who has devoured your property with prostitutes. Because, you know, there are some sins we just don't forgive in the church. Doesn't matter how young you were when you made them. There's always going to be an elder brother someplace who doesn't understand the grace of God. He devoured your property with prostitutes, and you killed the fatted calf for him. Why should I honor you? Why should I believe in you? Why should I love you or him? But he said to him, son, you see, you may disown God. He's not disowning you. Son, you are always with me. And all that is mine is yours. It was fitting to celebrate, to be glad that this your brother who was dead is alive. He was lost, and he is found. Now listen to me. This parable is a part of 3 parables. And the first line, the first verse in Luke 15, if you go back and review it, back in the parable of the sheep, is Jesus told these parables to the scribes and the Pharisees as the crowds gathered around Jesus, and the scribes and the Pharisees were jealous. And then Jesus tells them the story about a shepherd who left the established church behind to go get the lost. And then he tells them the story about a woman who swept her hut endlessly for coins that were lost. And then he tells a story about 2 brothers with an inheritance. And the one brother is lost and he returns, and the other brother doesn't want him. And he's telling the Pharisees, how dare you not welcome the Gentiles into the kingdom? I was always yours. You could have had a goat anytime. You could have worn my robe anytime. You could have had my ring anytime. But these people now who are coming into me, these people now who are coming to me, these people who, by extension, he will eventually send the Apostle Paul to go get, they are mine. Why are you jealous that the crowds come to me? Why are you jealous that the uncircumcised want to love your Father in heaven? Why are you jealous of the woman at the well who had 5 husbands? Why are you jealous? when I heal people in Galilee that aren't pure Jews. Because you have denied who your Father is. Because your Father has claimed them. And when you deny who your Father says He is the Father of, you deny your Father. What about the church? Are we our brother's keeper? Are we willing to leave the 99 and run after the one? Are we willing to sweep the dark hut and let the dust and the sand from the floor sting our eyes as we hold the lamps up in the corner that the coin may be found? Are we willing to give up some of our precious resources? That when we see Jesus, we can say, "Behold your son who was lost. I brought him home and I put a ring on him. I put a robe on him. And I let him dance in your living room. Because I love you. I must love those whom you love." Or are we worried about there's not going to be enough for us? We are the keepers of the truth. After all, we have the truth and they don't. We are the ones that are right. We eat the right foods. We go to the right church. We go on the right day. We do all of these things correctly. We deserve the fatted cow. How is it that you want to give the fatted cow to those Sunday-keeping pork eaters outside our door? Or maybe we have different resources we're holding on to. Maybe we have different resources that are too important for us to give up for the sake of the lost. Maybe that's why we just can't get to church on time. Maybe that's why we just can't get out to Wednesday night refresh. Maybe that's why we just can't make it to the morning Bible devotion time. Maybe that's why we just can't get enough people to help out at the Pathfinder event. Maybe that's why. Maybe because we don't believe God has enough of our most precious resource for His children. True story. Won't tell you what church, won't tell you what name. True story. I wish this was not a true one. A woman attended one of my churches for a number of months. She didn't seem that engaged. I wondered why she was coming, but always glad to have the lost welcome, right? Amen. But she quickly affirmed to me that she was not new to the church. She quickly began to point out to me all the problems with the way that people kept the Sabbath wrong, and all the problems with the way people ate their food wrong, and all the problems about how they didn't do what they should do. I figured out quite quickly she was a member of the tribe attending with us. But months went by and things were fine, and one day she came by my office and she said to me, "Pastor, I need you to go with me and to visit my sister." And I said to her, "I would love to meet your sister." When should we go? Oh, can you go next weekend? I can see what I can do. Is it her birthday? Should I bring a gift? Is it a family occasion? Why are we going to meet your sister? Oh, you need to talk to her. Oh, does she need to know about Jesus? Is she interested in Bible study? No, it's nothing like that, Pastor. She too is a believer. Oh, okay, great. Is she interested in our church? Why are we going to see her? No, Pastor. You need to go tell her that she is being unfair with the family inheritance. You need to go and explain to her she doesn't have the bills that I have, she doesn't have the problems that I have, and that her keeping half of it is too much considering the burden that I have to carry. And I'm like, well, why am I going? She's like, from our country, pastors are very well respected. From our country, and she belongs to our faith. If a pastor tells her something is right, she has to do it. My heart broke. My heart broke on several levels. It broke that someone thought that was my job. My heart broke that two sisters can't communicate and honor a dead relative. My heart broke. Because there's a woman out there who doesn't know she gained an inheritance and lost a sister. So I said, I will go. I will go. I will go. I will go and I will mediate between you and your sister that your relationship may be restored and that communication may be re-engaged and that there may be healing finally in this family of God. And she said, and you will tell her to give me the money, right? No. But I will go and I will talk to her about the miscommunication, and I will talk to her about this is not worth to lose a sister for. Pastor, I'm not sure next week is good. Let me get back to you. And a few weeks later, she was gone. One day I met another pastor at a graveside. And we were talking. And he said, did she ever ask you to go visit her sister? And I said, yes, but I wouldn't go. And he said, me either. Now it's too late. What's your most precious resource? What are you keeping to yourself? Where are you unwilling to sweep? Where are you unwilling to look? What are you unwilling to leave behind that you may restore your father's son, your father's daughter, your father's child to him? He is depending upon you to go and to be looking down the road. And it may be so offensive that you will smell them before you see them. They are not pork-eating Sunday keepers. They are not apostate Protestants. They are not infidel Muslims. They are not cold-hearted, angry atheists. They are not secular hedonists. They are not sinful prostitutes. They are not broken drug addicts. They are your Father's children. What do you plan to give your Father when He gives you your inheritance? Marvin, please.
Wonders on the mountain of strength. Come unto me, message repeating, words of the Master speaking today. Going above, upon the mountain, bringing the wonders back again into the fold of my Redeemer, Jesus the Lamb for sinners slain. Seeking the lost and pointing to Jesus, souls that are weak and hearts that are sore, leading them forth in ways of salvation, showing the path to life evermore. Going upon the mountain, bringing the one back again into the fold of my Redeemer, Jesus the Lamb of sinners slain.
I gotta tell you, this is just like so exciting. It's just like so incredible. It's just like so amazing. I gotta tell you, and I gotta ask you to pray. So this morning, I'm going through my Twitter, and I'm doing the Twitter recommendations it makes for me. And I'm just clicking through them. I'm not paying attention. And I get here at church, and Stephen comes in the office, and he sees me there. He didn't know what I was doing, but he's talking with me. And this guy is tweeting to me. And he says, "Why did you add me on Twitter?" I said, "I don't know. It just recommended you. So I just agreed with it." He said, "Do you know I'm an atheist?" "Pastor, I'm pretty sure you're going to be offended by the things you see in my Twitter feed." Maybe. I love atheists. They're awesome. I'm not going to unfollow you unless you unfollow me. You know what he says to me? Listen to me. You know what he says to me? Listen to me. He says, "I was a pastor for 50 years. For 50 years, I was a pastor. I come from a family of pastors. Everyone in my family is in ministry, but me, after 50 years." I don't know how old this guy is, but this is what he told me. It's Twitter, so who knows? "I was a pastor for 50 years. And you add me to your feet? If you want to unfollow me, you may, but I'm not unfollowing you unless you unfollow me." And then he posts this thing immediately about what atheists believe and about how Christians can never prove the existence of God. And I know what he's doing, so I said, who needs to prove the existence of God? That takes all the faith out of it. And he's like, "So you're okay pretending?" I'm like, who's pretending? What's the alternative? Have you found anything? Twitter silence. Pray for this pastor. He is our Father's lost.
Amen.
And he is worth your prayers.
Amen.
And who is on your Twitter feed, and who is on your Facebook feed, and who is in your Instagram feed, who just needs a little encouragement, just needs a reason to get angry at you, just needs a reason to say, why are you always sharing Jesus anyways? Who is it at your work? Who is it at the same place you go get your coffee? Don't tell me you're not getting your coffee. Who is it that you run into on a daily basis? Do you take time to love them? Do you take time to tell them they matter? Do you take time to seek the lost? Because they are our Father's children. And some of them attend church with us every week. And do you notice them? And do you care for them? And do you nurture them? And do you spend time with them? Because these are our Father's children. Some of them watch us every single week on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Can you bother to share a video? These are our Father's children. It's time. They're worth our time. It's time. They're worth our feet. If you need to be baptized, if you need to start Bible studies, if you need to belong to a church, know this: we love you. We want you. You matter. The rest of you, go out there and make sure they know of the Father's love.
Lord, visions of mercy, following Christ from day unto day, cheering the fainting, raising the fallen, pointing the lost to Jesus the way.
Going afar,
Going afar, upon the mountain,
bringing the one,
bringing the wonders back again
into the fold,
of my Redeemer,
Jesus the Lamb,
Jesus the Lamb for sinners slain.
Dear Heavenly Father, send us afar. Send us into the mountains. Send us into the fold. Send us into the highways. Send us into the byways. Send us into the healthy and send us into the broken. Send us into the life of the party and send us into the depressed and broken and shattered. Father, send us to those who need amazing grace and send us to those who don't even know they need amazing grace. Father, make us hear the beating of your heart, because I cannot lead a church to be obedient to your will, because you said, my sheep will know my voice and they will hear it and they will come. Father, let your sheep hear your voice and let them come and find their brother. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.